We have the two items reversed, Madam Chair. 3
Okay.
and 2 should be
Reversed,
My apology.
call to order. Well, last month it was like that too. Call to order and then roll call was next.
Roll call.
Diana Manis,
Present.
Robert Witters,
Present.
Alyssa Sena,
Present.
Harold Garcia,
Present.
Woody Rivera,
Present.
Joseph Dominguez, Christine Ludi,
Present.
Marvin Martinez, Benito Pacheco,
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
All right.
Next should be pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance, yes. Shall we start with Mr. Harold? Lead us.
I pledge allegiance to
To
the
the
flag
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want to try?
I salute
The flag of the state of New Mexico, the city symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you.
I used to get tongue tied with that.
I know, I still do.
United Friendship or whatever it says. Well, that'll get tongue tied.
All righty, approval of minutes. Did anybody have a chance to look at them? Mr. Witters, did you,
Yes, I
Did
read
you-
them and
is there
I,
anything that,
no,
you
I
would like to
recommend we
add or-
approve them as
Madam
written.
Chair,
yes,
we need to approve the agenda.
oh, I'm sorry. Do we have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, so do we go down to the approval of minutes then? Mr. Wooders?
I
you have-
recommend we approve the minutes for May the 21st and June the 30th, 2026 as written.
All in favor? Do we have a motion to approve? Christine Ludi? Second. Mr. De Vera, do you have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Madrid, any public input?
We have no public input today, Madam Chair.
Also, do we want to go on to the next one then, Mr. Madrid? Action item of FY 26 final bar?
Yes, the final budget adjustment contains just 3 items. One of them is an increase to the Emergency Medical Services Fund from its cash balance for additional expenditures that were not previously budgeted, in addition to the grant that was budgeted. I think in what we did here in this case, we did not budget the prior year carryover. And we're doing that now so we don't have an overexpended budget. The second budget adjustment is from our local law enforcement fund. This fund was not expended entirely, so we had to revert that amount, $166,539. That's an expenditure because it's cash going out. We did not budget because we don't anticipate reversions. But that reversion was made, so it needs to be reflected in the budget. The last one is for federal assistance from the department through the state Homeland Security and Emergency Management Department for generators. We've received money for generators to be placed at both fire departments, the rec center, I think eventually here at City Hall. Where else? So far, those 4 places.
Senior Center?
And the senior center, yes. So this is for a couple of them that we received the funding for, but did not increase the budget through a budget adjustment prior to the end of the fiscal year. So this is to bring our budget back in line so we're not overexpended. This was one of our audit findings last year. We had one fund that was spent but not budgeted. This is to avoid the same thing this year.
That was my next question, if you had anything from your audit, okay, that you had to tie in, but this is probably one of them then.
Yes, this would be the resolution of that finding from last year. We've contracted 4, but haven't started the field work for this year's audit, FY26. So with that, this will be going to council with your approval. This is an action item, Madam Chair.
Alrighty, any questions on this?
I have
Mr.
a
Witters?
quick question. This is state funding that
It's
came in?
federal through the state.
Oh,
It is
Okay.
from FEMA through the Department of Homeland Security, State Department of Homeland Security and
Yeah,
Emergency
okay.
Management.
all right.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve FY26 final bar? From somebody?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second?
Second.
First by Harold and then second by Studi. All in favor?
or roll
All in
call?
favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is item FY27 final budget.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, before we get to the list of summary of changes that I provided, I'd like to address the recommendations that were forwarded at the approval of the interim budget. There were 4 of them that were voted on and submitted as recommendations for the final. The first one was, they may be out of order, the increase of the abatement fund. That was done, that was incorporated into the interim budget. So that funding is there. I did speak with the community development department, and one thing that we will be doing to avoid this in the future is to have a more aggressive approach towards enforcing liens on properties. That's where the funding should come from. While we are abating a lot more of them, we're not getting any revenue from it. So we'll need to start, instead of waiting till property is sold, aggressively enforcing the liens. So that should start taking place here in the near future. The second one,
Maybe questions? Go
Witters?
ahead.
Once you abate them and you put the lien on them, how much longer by that before they're sold or?
well, the
What's the time frame that you give them to?
the practice has been, that's not what it should be, is we would just wait till the property was sold. And sometimes that could be years, sometimes it could be never. So we usually wait a minimum of 90 days before actually filing an aggressive enforcement of the lien. And the city hasn't done that in a long time. So that's gonna have to be a change in our approach. We do have a few of them staying out there.
Is there like a current abatement policy that we can review?
Oh, yes, there is. It's in our code enforcement and community development.
Okay,
I'll forward that to the entire board.
Okay.
Good.
The other one was a concern that,
Excuse me a second, could I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
The other thing, Morris, that we talked about on this issue was the possibility of selling property that the city owns. Is that still being considered? Is the city gonna put up some of the property that it owns for sale? And then is it gonna decide possibly to put those funds in the abatement fund?
all I can tell you for sure is, yes, it's being considered. I don't think it's a priority. I would say that one of the priorities you'll see in the next month or two is acquisition of property. One of those was on our agenda last week where the city voted to acquire the property right next to the police department on the corner of Moreno and South Pacific. So those types of acquisitions for future projects are going to be more of a priority than the disposal. But yes, it is a consideration, but I wouldn't describe it as a top priority right now.
Okay. Yeah, and if, I know you have an influential position in the city, so if you could bring that up occasionally. I know I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I'd appreciate the revenue also.
Yeah.
I agree.
And with that, excuse me, Madam Chair, is that funding then go into the general fund once you sell the property? Or
No,
all of it's going to the abatement?
It's intended to go into the abatement fund. It should be a revolving fund that funds itself.
Thank you.
The next concern that we brought to the committee, and the committee absolutely agreed with us, is the amount that we pay for credit card and debit card fees associated with utility payments, primarily on the internet. That contract is one of the most convoluted I have ever seen. There are so many various types of charges for different things, different percentages, and the bottom line is we need to do an RFP, and we will, to get one rate for one service or a flat fee or something, because we shouldn't be paying in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for this. It's costing us more than it's worth. And the fallback position is going to be not to accept them or create a flat fee for each one. Most places have a flat fee. If you're going to use a debit or credit card, it's just $2 more. That's it. So that's something that will come back to this committee is how do we want to proceed? Either we'll provide you with an RFP or not and come up with a policy. But something has to be done to reduce those expenses. If we try and pass them on to the consumer, it would be too complicated to implement. And I don't say that lightly. So that's the second item. The third one that was discussed was increased compensation for code enforcement. That was brought to the attention of the manager. We have had a pretty good discussion on it. I'll tell you one of the things that is being considered, and that's why we don't have a resolution or a recommendation on this yet. We could go ahead and recommend $2 or $3 an hour more and maybe try that. But one of the manager's possible initiatives is to make code enforcement officers multi-capable. For example, certified in code enforcement and assisting the police department in other types of non-commissioned types of enforcement, and other types of code enforcement duties within the department. So they would be certified in different areas, although they would be classified as code enforcement officers. They would be multi-discipline officers. So that's where that is. There is not an adjustment for that in this budget. The last thing is the payoff of the housing debt, because that comes directly from the general fund. That's been discussed, and that's going to be looked at after our final budget is approved. One of the things that you may have noticed between our interim budget and our final budget is at the end of the year, people submit everything for payment that may have been sitting there for 2, 3, or 4 months. And a bunch of cash goes out the door before the end of June, so they don't lose it in next year's budget. So our cash balance drops in the general fund and it starts going back up again. That's not the only issue. The other issue is if it's 0% and we want to have cash available for a major project or something else, like this $180,000 land purchase that was authorized last week. We want to be able to have enough cash on hand to make those decisions and execute them right away. And if we bind ourselves by paying off a $700,000 debt that's interest-free, then we may limit on what we can do. So it is a consideration. It's not a dead thing. It just hasn't been, that decision hasn't come down yet. So That's where we are on those four.
So has anybody contacted the HUD folks to see what they might be willing to do? Because one option we talked
No, but I
about.
did research it, Bob, and
Okay,
this was the result of a negotiation.
yes,
So this payment plan, and this settlement was the best and final back then. And I believe it was probably an 80% reduction in what the actual cost was. So this is already a negotiated final deal. There's no negotiation on this.
I would humbly submit that there always is negotiation.
In theory, I
Because
agree with you.
I think we were partly slapped for being bad persons in the past with several issues that came up, to include we weren't even paying off. Is this correct? We weren't even paying off the yearly amount that we owed them. And now we have been paying that. I'm hopefully believing we're back in their good graces, and we're not on their bad guys list, so.
No, this was actually a settlement of what was considered a violation by HUD in the national office. The records show that the city had worked with the regional office for the sale of these homes under a homeowners program,
Yeah,
and the homes were sold. The issue was that a developer was used in the middle. The sale should have been done directly. So technically, there was an issue there.
okay. I see.
The payback of the value of the property, which would have had to have been collected from the city, instead of allowing the owners that did buy them to keep them, was a huge amount, over 10 million, compared to the 1.5 or 1.7 million in this agreement. So,
And what year is that dated, that agreement?
I'm not sure. I think it's around 2012,
Yeah.
2011, something like that.
That's kind of squares. Okay, all right. I think there's still room for negotiation.
Well, I don't know when you're dealing with the federal government. I've never seen them then, but in my lifetime when I was working, you know what I'm saying, but has things changed? I don't know. I mean, every case is different, I assume, but.
Well, and the city doesn't manage the housing program anymore, so
Yeah.
Right.
that's been taken over.
That,
Okay.
that moved up to the Raton Federal Housing Office.
I don't know. I know that
I think
the
it-
Section 8 program is out of Bernalillo now,
Oh,
so I'm not sure about the regular housing program itself.
Okay, all right.
It's been a while.
Thank you.
Going to this list that you all were provided of changes, almost everyone except a few is either to get to a better estimate or to allocate and appropriate money that we didn't have official agreements for at interim. And more than half of the changes are that. But I'll just go through them briefly, rather than going through this beautiful budget. And before we go any further, I want to especially thank, I'm sorry I didn't know in the beginning, Anthony and Chastity for this product. I guarantee you, they have spent since our last meeting at interim, making sure that our cash balances, fund balances, revenues and expenditures were in line, and this was their idea. So, not only is it one of the fattest budgets the city has had in a long time, but it's the prettiest. So, with that, I'll start with the change to the governing body budget. There was $5,000 added to the line item for special events. And that was just a recommendation from the manager, because the governing body has never had a budget for anything like that. If they wanted to have a cleanup day, if they wanted to have a special celebration of some kind, this gives them the latitude to have at least something small and start with something. That's where that came from. In the city manager budget, the city manager, of course, travels more with the governing body. You'll see that increase also. But is gonna have to do some travel and increase the subscriptions line item to become ICMA certified. That's an initiative that takes a few classes, and some of them have to be in person. That's what that's for. In the police department, we did a reduction of $2,000 on both the revenue and expenditure side to reduce the U.S. Marshal Service agreement. That was just a reduction in the agreement. I can't tell you how that came about, but that's to adjust to the actual agreement level of $3,000 from $5,000. In the library, this was a big increase of $230,000. The original budget was $125,000. Since then, we've got some preliminary estimates on replacing the whole HVAC, well, not replacing, building a whole new HVAC system. The building had an old boiler in the basement with the radiators that made noise, and not all of you, but some of you saw when you were in the third grade, South Public School. They had that same type of radiator. They're still there, but they're antiquated, and they want to replace them with an entire heating and cooling system. So this estimate actually looks still kind of low, because the initial plan has been sent to the State Office of Cultural Affairs Historic Preservation Department, Division. They have to approve any penetrations into the wall or into the ceiling or any changes to the exterior of the building. We haven't gotten that back yet. So we don't know what the plan is going to be. The plans that I've seen show a forced air system with ducts, regular air ducts that come out of the floor, and a removal of the radiators. That's going to be some discussion. Do we leave the radiators there just for historic and aesthetic value? That's where that stands. This may be a budget adjustment again a little bit later once we have the final plans. It's only a preliminary design. In general services, we adjusted the budget up for our total liability and other insurances that we have through risk management through the municipal league.
What was it? What was the original?
The
budget?
original, I think,
The
was
original.
2.1 million.
Aye, so that's never come down.
It's never come down, no.
It's just going up.
It'll go up again.
Oh, my God.
And then, that was 100,000. We also increased our other contractual services by 30,000 because we hadn't been budgeting all of our consultant budget within general services. Some of it was in community development. This cleans those budgets up. That's everything in the general fund. In the lodger's tax fund,
you have a
Before we
question?
get on, yeah. Morris, under city manager.
Yeah.
Is that the correct department number? Is city
no, it
manager?
should be 4230.
Yeah, thank you.
I did this on a Sunday afternoon. I wanted to go home. That's my fault.
So it is 4230,
It
right?
is 4230.
Yeah, that's what I
yes.
thought. Okay, thank you.
In lodger's tax, they're based on some of the events that have been approved for next year. There's an increase in the publication and advertising for events of 23,000. That's mainly for television. There was a new contract signed. I think it was with KRQE. I'm not sure. And you'll see more television and radio ads for events that we have in the city. In our general fund savings fund, this is one thing that we haven't done before. The way that we had operated before was if we got additional funding like for co-op or MAP funding from DOT, when we accepted it on the agenda, okay, we got that funding. Now, finance department, go find the match. And that works well if you have enough resources. But if you don't, that's not the way to operate. So this is the first time that we're gonna budget matching funds in the initial budget. And that's just I'm sure it's a starting amount that's not gonna be enough for the whole year, but that's what we know now. And it's a start of a new initiative. So that's where that number comes from. The general fund savings, the 230 fund, that's where we transfer periodically, once or twice a year, money that we did not spend in the general fund. So in that fund, there are, in the interim budget, you notice that we budgeted a good amount in there for other projects that are not designated by the council, but we'll have that capability. Those will be non-recurring costs. In the rec center line item, because they are fully staffed and because most of them are union positions, in the interim budget, the salary and benefits went up significantly. We did not want their cash to be negative or their budget upside down. We had to cut somewhere. We cut building maintenance because we're gonna be using other resources. For example, the Parks Department in the winter will have more time to go to the rec center and assist with maintenance there. So we're gonna use different things to cover that. If we have any issues, we can do line item transfers during the year. So that's the reason for that reduction. In the senior center, almost every single line, or every single column, and there's a few different components to the senior center, was changed because we didn't have the funding at interim. So the total is fairly close, but the allocation line by line is completely different. This is one that's not negotiable. It has to be budgeted the way we get it from the Department of Aging and Long-Term Services. That's why I didn't give you a line by line description, because it's just, you can see it in the budget, it's real complicated, and that's the exact format that has to be used.
So what did it net out to?
I can't even tell you.
You don't
that.
know? We'll have to go through and look at it line by line.
Yeah, it's a couple
Okay.
of pages. Because it's so large, the printer's a little smaller, so that's why.
Okay. All right.
In the 269 fund, the Carol Petrie Foundation, this we received notification that they'll get a grant of $32,000. We didn't have that in interim budget. Same thing on the next one, Fund 213, the State Library grant. We received notification of $149,000. That's new. In the next three funds, Street Co-op, Special Appropriations, and DFA Capital Projects. Without going through the list of them, I'll give you a few examples. Some of our street projects are Old City Hall project, the one on 6th and University.
Mhm.
They're working on the roof right now. Those received appropriations. There's a few different ones last year, and the projects were not finished. So we had an estimate in the interim budget of what the carryover amounts would be. These numbers are a lot closer because final invoices for FY26 were submitted, so we have a better idea on what the carryover is. Those are the numbers that are in the final budget. It's not new funding, it's carryover funding. In the rehab of the taxiways, that is for the airport, and there's both. There's carryover of $842,000. When we did the game fence was brought about by the fire. Because of the fire, elk have migrated more this way. And there was actually an incident where, I don't know if a plane came close or collided with an animal.
Two incidences of actual collisions with elk on the airport by airplanes.
That the city applied for funding through both FAA and State Department of Transportation Aviation Division. They got funded by both. So the state has allowed the use of the funding for other initiatives like equipment and improvements to the airport that are not for the fence. That's the carryover amount. They applied for other additional funding. This is not for the fence. The 1.1 million is not for the fence. That's for other improvements at the airport. But we use that fund because we're not commingling anything else. They have separate line items, so that's why that's in there. The last one is a new one, and it is a recommendation that the manager and I both concur with. It's for an additional position in our IT department. There were additional positions added last year's for actual technical support. This one is more, it's more of an office manager, keep track of all the assignments position and provide administrative support. This one is not a technical position, but it would make their office more efficient in receiving work orders and keeping track of the assignments out in the field. That way they wouldn't have to have a person in the office all the time. They could always be out on the field and still get their administrative things done and provide the support they need for their IT personnel. That's what this is for. It is a new position.
So how many FTEs do you have in IT right now?
Right now, there are
3?
five.
5?
Let me look it up.
I believe so, yeah. Is there 4? Four?
My second question before I forget.
Let's see.
In this budget, does it add up all the FTEs? Is there a page or how many FTEs did you budget for FY '27? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess pretty closely about 250, because we have more than that, but some of them are frozen and not funded.
Right, they're
just
not
kept in
filled,
place.
some of them are not filled. Okay, and as of June 30th, when we did the last payroll tax, submit the last payroll taxes, how many FTEs did we submit for? How many do you have on board right now that are live bodies that you're actually paying?
I can give you an exact number. I think our vacancies are around 40. So
No,
we have,
I think Miss
oh, okay.
Chastity can
We can
answer
check.
that. She answered it last time for me.
It's loading. My
Okay,
computer's
thank
just
you.
slow.
You know, when she gives you a number, I'm gonna say,
And my
that's
next-
what I was gonna say.
I know. And my last, okay, and this budget,
288.
you're at, see, you're at 2, so
288.
that number has to be higher, Mr. Mordred.
Well,
250's gotta
that
be,
probably includes our summer program.
288 you said?
And we have 48 students in our summer program, so you can subtract 48 from that.
Yeah, but I would think that you have so many that are not
We do.
filled in here.
We do.
Yeah. Ballpark, how many do you say? 25? That are, you're still budgeting for them, but
That are
they're not,
frozen?
yeah,
Probably 20.
okay. So 288. And this budget, do you upload this to DFA, like this whole booklet, right? Like
They do.
every page, every document, every.
Every line.
Yeah, it's every line. Yes, it is. It's every line. That is uploaded. I don't know what ours was, when I worked for the schools, it was called OBMS, okay? Operating Management System.
This is LGBMS,
Management System,
local government budget management system.
so it's, what is it, how is it?
LGBMS.
LGB. That is your software program to them.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So all those changes, when you have your bars and so forth, you have to upload those to this program as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I mean, it helps. It's a great tool, right? I mean, even though they bug, you think there's
Well,
another message every morning you walk into work and say, oh, what do they want now? You know what I mean? Whoever's the one that keeps it up, okay? Because you gotta respond to them, and they give you a window, and you only have 2 days to respond, and blah, blah, blah,
It
and
used
now
to be
you're
a
gonna have to start all over
spreadsheet
again.
on a floppy disk that we would
Oh,
have to hand
God.
carry.
Thank God those days are gone.
Before they were born.
Thank God they're gone. Okay, so 280.
Those are the changes. I'm ready to answer any questions, and I recommend your approval.
Is there any questions on the adjustments for FY '27 budget? It's good to go. Mr. Withers.
Okay, I have my standard question. We know we're gonna underspend this budget because of vacancies, right?
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Not probably, we will, right?
Well,
Well, we
So,
have to.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
can't overspend.
yes,
That's against the law. So yeah, we
True.
will underspend.
yeah.
Even if it's by a penny,
We
we'll
hope so.
underspend.
Well, we hope so.
So how are we gonna deal with that? Cause I actually believe the underspending that we're gonna do is gonna be fairly significant. If it's 20-ish positions, that are gonna stay vacant this whole next year, and we're not gonna spend that money on those vacancies, 20 times $100,000 per position to include benefits and all that is a healthy piece of change. How are we going to, how's the city going to take that into account and not sit on that $2 million in cash
Well,
and deny stuff being done for the citizens of Las Vegas by the tune of $2 million because we have this budgeting issue that we just throw our hands up in the air about. Are you gonna go through your rebudgeting process?
well, we've already started that because I'll give you a couple of examples.
Okay,
From our general fund savings, we were able to acquire the property on Moreno and South Pacific. We have budgeted more in that 230 fund, the general fund savings fund,
Right.
over $1 million than we did last year. So as for how we're gonna spend it, I can't tell you, but I can tell you that we have established and we're gonna continue to establish setting those resources aside so the governing body has the ability to take those initiatives. Whether it's for a new fleet of equipment, right now, they're replacing the roof at the rec center.
Yeah.
With that kind of funding. So it is starting to happen, and we're gonna continue to make sure that we don't just leave that lump in there every year, that it's available for other stuff. That's not our call, but we will make it available. We are making it available.
and that's great. However, what I've seen happen in the past is that the city gets started on thinking about what to use that money on, and they keep thinking, and the year keeps rolling another month, and we get to the end of the year, we get to the end of the next year, which is what this budget is for, and we're still thinking about some of that stuff, and we still have that lump of cash sitting in the bank.
For example,
The underspending of the budget
but I mean, when you say
for this year.
thinking and thinking, but not doing anything,
Well,
But Mr. Madrid, correct me if I'm wrong, but in January, I thought you had a sweep. You did a mid-year analysis on the budget, and you just reallocated, I don't remember, was it 1.7, something? Do you remember that, Mr. Witters?
yes, but
Remember-
how much
but
of
the
that
days-
did you spend already by the end of this year?
15 cars in our back lot here.
Yes, they did spend
Yeah.
it, remember? They did, he went in, he went in,
Yeah,
he
there were,
went line by line
May
and
and June.
cleaned up, you know.
and that was right in between, that was right at the time that we changed city managers. But that was
Oh,
done,
that was 2 years ago, not last year.
no, this year we
Was it 2
transferred
years
that
ago?
money.
I don't know, it's one of the years that, and he was fairly new, but he did, yeah, you know.
Right,
Okay, but if I look at the general fund, for last year, that we just finished that year, how did it come out? Now, I know some of these are older numbers and you might have slightly newer numbers, but this says that the budget we were gonna spend for last year for the general fund was gonna have a deficit of 7 million to use up some of that cash that we're just sitting on. And we only overspent by 2 million. So we missed by 5 million bucks.
No, you'll see in the final numbers that we came in within, in the non-recurring costs, because there still are projects in place that we have obligations on that we just haven't paid, because you're looking at cash balances. You're looking at expenditures for which
Okay.
cash hasn't been paid yet.
I understand that. So why do you give us numbers based on cash accounting? Why don't we get accrual?
Because it's a DFA regulation. We cannot use GAAP. We don't have a choice. It's based on beginning cash, plus investments, plus revenue,
Jeez, that's
minus
so
expenditures, plus or minus transfers. This sheet right here.
Yeah, and I noticed there were some major changes on that sheet from the preliminary budget sheet you gave us and the one that
All
we
the
just got.
cash balances have to be reconciled to the penny.
Oh, I know that. And I'm cool with that. I think they should be reconciled to the penny. But I'm having trouble knowing where we are in some of our goals. Because I looked at the numbers you gave the commission at the last 2 commission meetings ago, and it says we were supposed to have a deficit budget in the general fund of 7 million, and it was only 2 million. And so we missed our budget by 5 million bucks. Now, I know some of that got updated with last minute numbers.
Could they have been encumbrances?
And-
Because I know we don't get an,
Yeah, we don't
And
see
number of-
encumbrances,
No,
do
And
we
you'll
we?
see
It
that,
could be
that's where the
encumbrances.
increase in, like, the 230 fund comes from, $1 million. That's where it came from. It came from FY '26 savings.
Yes.
So is it, some of it is in there, some of it went to the abatement fund, as you all recommended. Some of it went into our capital projects fund, which gives the governing body more flexibility for their projects. The idea is to use those savings for non-recurring costs.
Agreed.
Because if we build a budget,
No,
for
no, we don't wanna
recurring
do
costs,
that. We don't wanna
we
build.
won't
a
be able
budget.
to sustain it.
No, I 100% agree with you. But I'm trying to figure out exactly where we are from the city standpoint. Are we making progress in using all the cash that we had sitting in the bank a couple of years ago
Well, let me tell you this one.
for the benefit of the citizens of Las Vegas, not just lighting cigars with $100 bills? Okay, we're not
I
wasting.
hate passing the buck. I do. But
Oh,
the
okay.
job of the finance department is to account for all the assets, make sure they're spent in compliance, and make sure that the administration, in particular the governing body, has the resources available to do what they want to do. Whether we buy or build a city hall is not our issue.
No, but our issue, in addition, Morris, I believe, this committee's requirement is to also make sure that the citizens of Las Vegas are getting benefit for the funding that's available, that the finances are available for the city.
Nobody will obstruct that. If you, as an individual, or the committee as a whole, wants to make a recommendation, it will be forwarded to the governing body, as it has been before.
Madam Chair,
ahead.
I understand this committee serves as an advisory committee
Yes.
to the council.
Yes.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it. We don't serve any other purpose.
Right.
And I have a little bit of experience in budgeting with government. And I know that every year it's better to have a balance than to spend what you don't have. And that budget, you've got 2 funds here. You've got the enterprise fund and you've got the general fund. So the enterprise funds, they get to invest it with their enterprise operations. The general fund, the police department, the recreation department, the library, the senior center, a bunch of these programs are funded by the general fund. So if the police department has an excess of $100,000, based on my memory, that money will go back to the general fund. It doesn't stay in the police department. If the library has an excess of $50,000 at the end of the year, that money goes back into the general fund. And then it's up to the manager as the CEO for the city to make recommendations to the mayor and council through the finance office to how to budget any excess money that's left over from the previous year. So that for the year that you're representing current, you have, if there was an excess of $2 million, then there should be a plan on how to spend those $2 million. And that plan should be presented to the finance as an advisory committee only. That's it. No other action by this committee. And then that goes to the governing body through the finance office, at which point the governing body, if there's $2 million, they can reallocate those $2 million however the manager and the team that works for the manager recommends. Am I correct?
Right. And just as an example, and you know, Mr. Garcia, that the county and the city do the same thing.
Right.
With the ICIP.
Right.
That's where the goals are set. And it's the finance department's responsibility to make sure that we have enough resources to execute those goals. For example, one of them in the past has been City Hall. Now, let's say it's going to be $10 million. We have to be able to have the resources to say, we can either finance the 10 million, or we can finance 5 million and pay 5 million, or we can write a check for 10 million. But it's up to us to take that direction from the governing body and make sure that it's doable. Because if it's not doable, it shouldn't be on the ICIP. So that's what we do. We're kind of the soldiers. We're part armed and part brains. We have to be able to do both. We have to be able to come up with a solution and execute it, and do it all within the law.
And a good manager will always try to have that $2 million savings at the end of the year. Always. You know, and that manager will work with the team that supports the executive branch of the city, so that those $2 million can then be rebudgeted for expenditures of the next year. So I applaud the city if there's any additional money left over. I applaud the city wholeheartedly because that's what good management is all about. I would rather see $2 million excess than to spend every bit of budget that you have budgeted.
To your point, Mr. Garcia, there's a couple of more things. The city can apply, and I think we're going to get a rating from Moody's, just like a publicly traded corporation. Our fund balance, cash balance, ratios of fund balance to revenue, ratios of fund balance to cash, those are all taken into consideration. We will get a good rating for that, number one. It's a good reflection in our audit report. But one of the main things, and to your point, Mr. Garcia, when you go to the roundhouse and you ask for $10 million for a new fire department, they're going to ask you, well, what are you going to put into it? What skin are you going to have in the game?
Right.
Well, we'll put in $2 million. You're a lot more likely to get the other 8 if you have skin in the game. This gives us the ability to have skin in the game.
And it gives you leverage with your bond counsel, with any financing mechanism, any financing tools that the city is out looking for. It gives you that much more leverage to have a $2 million excess budget.
Right.
So I see where it's a big benefit to the city.
And the other thing, and this is from experience, the city doesn't have anyone to bail itself out. When I was in Truth or Consequences, that's when COVID hit. And everybody got sent home, and people needed to get paid. And if the fund balances hadn't been adequate, they would have had to lay everybody off. The city's not in that position. The city is in a position to accept a major adversity, and we've shown that with the fire and with the flood. We've been able to continue operations because we had healthy reserves, not in certain places, but in all places. And that's, you know, as a finance director, I sleep a little better at night.
And it was 2 years, Mr. Madrid, that you did that sweep, because I went back to my notes. So it has been 2. It was, you know, mid-year analysis on budget is what I saw back then, but
Yes.
maybe you didn't have to do one this year, but back in the day, maybe 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have money, you know, even when I was working, and then there at the end, it was like we did have, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you're darned if you do and darned if you don't, you know, sometimes you don't have enough, and then sometimes you have too much, right, Mr. Witters?
Well, I'm gonna ask my last question about that, if I could. Go ahead.
I just want to, is there a percentage amount that you have to have in your cash balance?
We have to have 2 months reserved in the general fund. That doesn't apply to enterprise funds.
Okay,
And they're.
Is that same for the schools?
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
they do.
okay.
Especially when you're selling bonds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you're selling bonds and you don't, oh my God, you gotta explain why, and oh my God, it's just like,
We just got a good rating from
did you?
Moody, yeah.
Oh, good, good. Okay, Mr. Witters.
Can I ask one
Yes,
more
you
question,
bet,
please?
You bet.
So, Morris, if I go to your recap sheet,
Mhm.
and the top line is general fund. Now, do I understand this correctly? The budget that you just presented for the new year, for 2027, is going to end up with almost $7 million left in the bank for the city, for the general fund. It needs to have that 2 months reserve of 2.5 million, and that's gonna leave a cash balance of $4.5 million if we spend exactly on the budget that's proposed, and we know we're not gonna do that. We know we're gonna miss that budget by at least $2 million because of vacant positions. So we're okay with saying to the city that you're not gonna spend $4.5 million, probably closer to $6.5 million for the benefit of the citizens of Las Vegas. Cash in the bank already, we got it. We could spend it if we wanted to, but we're not gonna budget it that way. That's kind of what we're saying with this budget. Now, I know I've tilted it in my direction from my interpretation, but did I understand that number one line, top line in your recap as to how it tells me what's
Yes.
gonna happen?
Short
Okay,
answer is yes.
yep, thank you. That's what I
I
thought.
applaud you for that 7 million. I'm sorry, but I'm just, you just rather be safe than sorry. You know, that's,
Well, in government, the
Yeah,
policy
that's
isn't
great.
minimal risk, it's
Mhm.
zero risk.
Yeah.
So, you know, our investments have gone up and they'll go up some more. So some of that cash surplus will go into our investment column as the year goes on.
Yeah, I have questions, comments. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this budget that the city has now, right, over 7 million. This is the first time the city of Las Vegas is seeing this kind of money, correct?
No,
Well, it's been a recent trend,
Uh-huh.
yes.
but, no, I guess no. I guess it's been for a
this
few
is probably
years.
the
that-
highest, probably.
No?
Probably one of the highest, I don't know.
See, that's my beef. No, the
Yeah.
answer to that question is no. 3 years ago, when I looked at the audit report, I thought there was somewhere around $10 million of cash in the general fund, sitting in the bank down there, that the city had not spent, had not budgeted, didn't in many cases even know they had it, and they didn't do things for the citizens of Las Vegas. They're starting to try to do something with that, and I think
We've
some of that's
improved by
going.
30%.
What?
We've improved by 30%.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
So,
We'll get
but it's
there.
not being
Okay.
misspent in any way which is good. Okay, that's,
I'm sorry,
that's
what?
important. It's not
It's
being
not being
misspent.
spent.
It's not,
Yeah, and I see that as not good. Do I want to spend down to the dollar and try to get things to the penny? No, I think we need reserves. And I think we're required to have reserves, actually,
Well-
in the general fund only. That argument is a different argument if we get to the enterprise fund. They've
One
got a
thing
fair
that,
amount of
uh,
cash sitting in the bank, too. So, anyway, that's just where I'm coming from.
The other thing that, I keep telling people, and I'm not sure that they're hearing me, is that the city has gotten so much better over the last 5 years at acquiring external funding.
that's what.
The improvements at the library, street improvements. We don't have to fund those projects because we spend other people's money.
Yep.
And that's a great thing. I would rather spend your
They should be
check than
patted on the
mine.
back for that, yep.
Madam Chair, I have another question on the 20 employee positions that you've frozen. Are any of those critical that you may have to pull from there and fund it? Any critical position from there?
No, they are almost entirely either administrative
Okay.
or almost impossible to fill because of qualifications. In some areas, they were overstaffed, and the chief will tell you this is a case in the police department. In record keeping and grants management and accounting, they had some administrative positions that we just weren't using. So those were frozen in order to allow higher compensation in actual field positions. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Remember, we don't see the encumbrances either, Mr. Witters.
I know,
We don't.
I know,
So
but,
thank God
but
that is,
I
thank God
try
that
to.
is a large number. That is a large, because I don't know what's still outstanding. I don't see it. I don't have a document. There's not a document that's
I know,
printed to
I
say,
know.
we still owe this, okay, out of the general fund.
Yeah.
We don't know.
But
So-
I look at trends over the years, and I think, Morris, since you gotten here, I salute you, sir.
I know.
So.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go
I don't,
anywhere.
I don't think I'm doing any more.
Or
I
you
think
too.
You just
Yeah.
know more
These
now
two.
than
Yeah.
you did before.
No.
You're just getting more information.
No, my beef is still the same beef. That we've got money and we don't spend it, we don't budget it, we should, in my humble opinion. And that's it, I'm done.
And I mean, I guess in some way, shape, or form, we're not the only committee, right? There's also an economic development committee, so that's where they would probably come in, right? To how are we
Well,
gonna use some of
I
these
don't
funds?
think we
What
have an
can we do?
economic development committee, but I think
Did they not
those
end
kind
up-
of issues are within the scope of this committee.
Did
And I'll
they
give you an
not
example.
end up doing-
Investment policy.
Yeah.
The question about
but they didn't end up doing
having
economic
$50 million at the local government investment pool versus having it in a local bank. If
Get
you're
more.
getting the same interest rate, wouldn't it be better in a local bank to be made available for economic development than it would be somewhere where it's not available for lending? Those are the kind of questions that I'm gonna bring back to the committees. We've talked about them before, but we haven't made any firm policy choices.
I thought the state, where you invest with the state, the interest is a lot higher than what they're.
It was
It's
over
not.
1% higher a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Now it's within 1/10%.
Oh, yeah, then.
So that advantage
And
isn't
that's
there with the state
because-
treasurer anymore.
This guy down here went and
But
negotiated.
that'll be one of the first things I bring to you.
And confronted him and says, you're not paying us enough.
Mr. Madrid, I
And
have a
that's
question
what we should
regarding
be doing,
the
and he
credit
did- he
card
did
processing
discredit.
entity that you use. When was that contract done? Like, how long have we had that contract?
It goes back at least 5 years
5 years.
that we could tell. I don't know.
Do you know, because I know like, working at previous banks, sometimes the banks offer, how do you say it, credit card processing through their direct, partner or whatever. Is the processing that we use through the bank, or is this?
It's through a private provider
Okay,
and they're I saw at least a dozen different rates for different things. It's, I have trouble understanding it.
I've seen those contracts.
Yeah, very impossible. We
Yeah.
need to make it simple, make it basic, and make it cheaper.
Yeah.
We will. With that, I request your approval.
Do we
And
have a
recommendation of the
do we have a
council.
motion on the floor to approve action item FY 27 final budget?
To recommend approval?
Yes.
I make a motion.
Mr. Garcia, we have
Second that.
seconds with Cody. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Anything else then? All I see here is next meeting is August the 17th.
Madam Chair, if you, I know you and I work very closely. But if
Okay.
anybody has any items to be requested to be on the agenda, you can send them to either one of us and we'll discuss them and get them on.
Is there a reason why we don't see the encumbrances and all that?
The agenda?
The encumbrances, because they don't have a budgeting program, okay?
Oh,
They don't have the, like that budget balance report that I used to
yes.
share with you all. They do have Tyler Technologies, maybe one of these days, we can still push for it. We haven't in a long time.
We tried
that
that and
module-
nothing's happened.
For that
Well-
module, for them to purchase the module, it is, they'd have to input it, all feed it, but
We have Tyler Technologies.
yeah, they
And
do.
we're 3 versions behind.
See?
They're upgrading that now.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Yes.
there was
Ms.
something.
Cassidy?
There is a report that we can pull up that does show encumbrances, but it shows everything. All, it's
Every-
way back.
Oh,
Like
wow.
from day one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's
Also
not by,
you-
it's not by school year? I mean, by fiscal year? I keep thinking I'm working still, no,
We'll send you an
But every
encumbrances
fiscal
report
year?
as of June 30th,
as of
For the
for the
fiscal year?
end of the fiscal year.
end of fiscal year,
Yes.
from from July 1st
Yeah.
of 25, from 26 till June 30th of 26, right?
July 1, 25 to
June 30th,
26.
yes.
Yeah.
We'll send you that.
Oh, see that?
Now, at one time, you folks talked about a custom report writer connected to Tyler. I don't know if it's a Tyler product or a third-party product that goes with Tyler. Have you done that? Have you
That's,
gotten that? Custom report writer.
It's a general report writer, but it's in the module of budgeting.
Yeah, or that module that comes with
Yeah.
Tyler.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'd have to look into that. It's not a report writer, it's built in. But we'd have to.
Oh, you have
we'd
it
have
already.
to custom build our reports.
Yes.
Right.
Is the program that you're behind yours not updating them, or is the program from them not giving it to you? The
I don't know.
updates?
I don't know if we didn't request it or they just didn't do it automatically. Normally, when a new update comes out, they'll tell you, and then it's up to you to implement.
Yeah,
But that's when IT was within finance. It just didn't happen for a couple of years. So now we're catching up. And there's modules like inventory management and depreciation and other areas that we're not utilizing fully. But we can when we get updated. So those are some of the considerations.
or consider another programmer. Maybe that would,
Just a budget, just a
Help
budget
you.
report. Encumbrances.
You have the money.
buy the program.
That's a good one, Mr. Ritters. Well, how long have you been with Tyler?
Ever, forever?
How long have you all been with Tyler? Any idea?
I don't know, I think it's probably since Y2K, but I'm not sure.
Oh my God, it's time to,
No, I think
Tyler's good. Tyler's good.
is that good?
If you're up to date, it's
Yeah,
the
with it
government
then.
package is available.
No, I think it's, I actually think it's a good system.
Yeah, it is, Tyler's.
It is, it's well known, it's I don't know, but
More
Okay.
than half of those counties and municipalities in the state, Ms. Tyler.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
They are good.
I think West Las Vegas attended a conference in Las Vegas, Nevada just recently. I don't know how beneficial it was, but I just heard about it, that they had gone, the fiscal staff had attended. So, anyways,
Madam
Okay.
Chair,
Well, see?
yes, sir.
I move we adjourn.
All right. Do we have a motion on the floor?
Second that.
So moved.